domination. Thanks to a fast start,
Riley and Jeremiah are extremely lethal in the backfield.
And 6 Navy turnovers.
Can't let all the smoke and mirrors confuse you. We did a really good job with that.
Notre Dame sunk the undefeated midshipmen.
We want more.
If the season ended right now, the Irish would be in the playoffs.
Number 10, the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame.
But there's still a lot of football to play.
We just live in a moment. We could all lose it just like that.
We got to take care of what's right in front of us, the 6 inches in front of our face.
Tonight, the Irish are back at home under the lights.
Under the lights is the best. I love night games.
To welcome Florida State.
Kromenhoff's going to try and do it on his own, and he does!
The Seminoles limping into South Bend with only 1 win this season.
We get a chance to go run out there on Saturday night with all eyes on us.
But the Irish still haunted by the loss to Northern Illinois in the home opener.
I don't want to lose the pain from that game. We are motivated by fear. We learn from the lessons that it's taught us.
No, not to take any team for granted.
I don't think that's left our souls. I don't think it's left our minds. It certainly hasn't left our hearts.
Notre Dame versus Florida State.
Going against them, I take it personal. I'm going to go show them what I got.
This is ABC57 Kickoff, presented by Afdent Dental, live from the campus of Notre Dame, with your hosts, Allison Hayes and Vahid Sadrazadeh.
It is game day on the campus of Notre Dame as the Irish get ready to face off against Florida State. Notre Dame has been on fire as of late, and the Seminoles have not. To put it nicely, will the Irish stay on the road to the playoffs, or does FSU pull off the massive upset? We will see. It's a cool, brisk kind of November day here on Notre Dame's campus, but it is a great day for football. Welcome to ABC 57 Kickoff. I'm Allison Hayes.
And I'm Vahid Sadrazadeh. Certainly not sunny, warm Southern California here today. It is the Midwest, and it is Notre Dame football in November. So welcome, Florida State fans, to South Bend in the fall.
Yeah, no kidding. It's a little bit different for those Knowles fans.
It is. They
I
came here.
can't imagine there's a lot of them traveling for this one either, to be honest. They're 1-8.
They're no good luck with Florida State here in South Bend. In 2017, it was -10, the temperature here in the morning. I remember that vividly. The Irish were simply bigger, faster, and better last week. Notre Dame forcing 6 turnovers 2 weeks ago, en route to a 51-14 demolition of Navy at MetLife Stadium in the Meadowlands. The Irish forcing 2 fumbles to start, going ahead 14-0 and never looking back. Quarterback Riley Leonard had a good one. He completed 13 of 21 for 178 yards in the air and 2 touchdowns. He also added 83 rushing yards and a touchdown. Speaking of rushing, it was Jeremiah Love once again. 102 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns, including a 64-yard dash. The Irish running back has scored in every game this season. He is hot. On the flip side of the ball, linebacker Jalen Sneed recovered a fumble to score his first defensive touchdown. So the defense, Allison, really making plays, stepping up. We saw it last week. Uncharacteristic turnovers by Navy a couple weeks ago, but the Irish were there to capitalize.
And I think that was a product of Notre Dame being so good. Navy just was completely out of sorts. They were not playing the way they had played all season,
Right.
but that's because they hadn't played a team like Notre Dame all season, and that's what happens. They were not prepared for what the Irish were going to bring.
Notre Dame did what they did not do early in the season, beat somebody they're supposed to beat.
Yes.
And today is another example of a game like that.
Yeah, exactly. And what was supposed to be a marquee game on Notre Dame's home schedule this season is anything but. The 1-8 Seminoles have lost 5 straight and haven't scored more than 21 points all season.
Levon Whitaker is live outside Notre Dame Stadium this morning with a closer look at tonight's matchup. Hey, Levon.
Hey, Allison, Vahid, as you said, this was one of the few games circled on Notre Dame's schedule coming into this season for many reasons. But the first one being that this is a night game under the lights inside of Notre Dame Stadium. It is one of the best things ever. But the other being that Florida State was undefeated in the regular season last year. But this year, they were expected to be one of the best in the ACC. Unfortunately for them, it's been quite the opposite.
The 10th ranked Irish versus a 1-8 Florida State under the lights in prime time.
I love night games. I mean, I think pretty much a lot of people love night games.
Of course, night games are much better when both teams are competitive, and that's not exactly the case tonight. With the second worst win percentage in the FBS, the Seminoles don't have a lot to lose.
They're not a team that's afraid to take shots. They push the ball down the field and try to win their 50-50 balls.
Trying is the operative word. Florida State is significantly worse than the Irish in every major statistic. The Seminoles have allowed 28 touchdowns and ranked 96th in total defense, making the Notre Dame offense a heavy favorite as they continue to pick up steam with quarterback Riley Leonard.
He's really doing a great job of building that relationship with Denbrock so they know exactly what each other are thinking, how comfortable each one feels with each call, and then the confidence he has in those guys around him.
And running back Jeremiah Love, who scored a touchdown in every single game this season. And on top of that, offensive coordinator Mike Denbrock says the Irish have more in the tank.
I think there's a lot more meat on the bone for what this offense can produce and what we can do.
On the flip side, Notre Dame's stingy defense ranks 8th in the country and have only allowed 11 touchdowns, whereas Florida State only has 13 trips to the end zone and are the second worst team in total offense in the FBS. So for a team that's working with a handful of backups due to injuries, the Irish have still proved to be one of the best in the country, no matter how good the opposing offense looks on paper.
We don't really ever sit there and say, you're the backup, you're this, you're that. And I think what's come to fruition this year is when the opportunities have availed themselves that the guys have responded.
Notre Dame has responded by not overlooking their opponent, and Florida State is no different. Good or bad, even as 26-point favorites, Notre Dame is giving Florida State their credit.
They might be one of the most talented teams we face all year, and that's just what the film tells you. And the record doesn't reflect their talent. They've had to deal with some injuries, especially at QB, that has affected the outcome of their games. Our team must and we will respect the challenge that Saturday night here in Notre Dame Stadium versus Florida State will present.
They have nothing. Well, Notre Dame has to do all they can do tonight to remain a one-loss team. I mean, this is Florida State's Super Bowl. They have absolutely nothing to lose. They're not bowl eligible. They're going to give Notre Dame everything they've got tonight at 7:30 here inside of Notre Dame Stadium. Allison Vahid, back to you.
All right, Levon, thanks so much. The big worry is the letdown, right? We saw it against NIU after the Texas A&M game. They played so well at MetLife Stadium a couple of weeks ago. Florida State is not playing like Florida State usually does, but that worries me because you come into Notre Dame Stadium and let the foot off the gas, bad things happen.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it. Florida State is just not a good team this year. Nothing's going right for the Noles, but they still are loaded with talent, and they have athletes on that team, and you just can't overlook them. You just can't afford to overlook them. And talking about the Noles, from the best of times to the worst of times, after an undefeated regular season last year, Florida State now dismal 1-8. The Seminoles just can't seem to put it together, dropping their 5th straight last week to North Carolina, 35-11 at home. Quarterbacks Brock Glenn and Luke Kromenhoek completed just 8 passes combined for 158 yards. 8 passes. Now, that is a good average per pass, but still, Kromenhoek also threw 2 interceptions, and the run game was nearly non-existent with only 42 rushing yards. Florida State was also sacked 7 times, Vahid, but the star of the show was Tar Heels running back Omarion Hampton, who rolled over the Noles defense, scoring 5 touchdowns. My goodness, those stats are unbelievable.
Yeah, and I think Notre Dame's defense is going to eat today if they can. I mean, when you come in, if they can jump on this Florida State team early, which they have not done a lot this season. Listen, it's cold out there tonight. The weather's not pleasant. It's a 1-8 Florida State team. You know, want to jump on them early, and the defense has an opportunity to do that. Riley Leonard, on the flip side of the ball, did play Florida State last year when he was at Duke, but he left the game early with an injury.
No, that's right. Now, we are just getting started here on ABC57 Kickoff. Up next, former Notre Dame offensive lineman Tommy Kramer joins us live. But first, here's a sneak peek at what's coming up throughout the show.
Notre Dame had the great win at A&M. They also had the worst loss on the board, losing at home to Northern Illinois.
The first college football rankings are out, and it seems everyone has an opinion, unless you're the Irish.
They come out today.
Let's focus on winning out the rest of the season, and the rest will play out on its own.
From the surprises to the snubs, we break it all down. A tasty new game day tradition.
Really good. These cookies fire. You need to come get you one of these.
We go inside the kitchen to whip up a batch of the Freeman cookie.
We just here for the cookies.
Beautiful. There you go. Order up.
And here come the Irish. We welcome the 1988 national champions, Michael Stonebreaker, Frank Stamms, and Reggie Ho to ABC 57 Kickoff. It's an invasion of Irish legends.
Well, folks are having some coffee, waking up this morning, staying warm out there, a little bit breezy on this November morning. After a week of rest, the Irish are back home getting ready to take on FSU in the house that Rockne built. Their 12th meeting on the gridiron. FSU leads the series 6-5, but Notre Dame has won the past three. The most recent, a 41-38 win in overtime in Tallahassee in 2021. And someone who knows all about playing Florida State in good weather and bad weather, Florida State, former offensive lineman Tommy Kramer for Notre Dame joins us now. Tommy, you were part of that team that beat the Seminoles 42-13 here in that cold day in 2018 here in South Bend. We were just talking about that as we were coming on the show. Very cold day.
Yes, it was a cold one, and leading up into that game, they had a lot of good weapons on defense, so it was okay, how are we going to attack them? But when we got to the stadium and it was freezing cold, we knew those guys were going to slow down their edge rushers, so that was a big advantage for us.
Did that make a difference, that cold weather, hopping out to that lead?
Absolutely, especially when you play these Florida teams. They're not used to that weather, so it was a big advantage for us.
Dexter Williams had a huge game that day. You guys were creating some big holes for him, over 200 yards rushing in that blowout win. Pretty awesome.
Yes, all over the offensive board. I know Chris Fink had a big game. Brandon Wimbush, everyone across the board had a big day that day.
Well, looking back at your career, we like to kind of, pat you guys on the back and remind our viewers of what you did. So you were the Ohio high school football player of the year. Thank you very much. And we have a great picture we're going to show everybody right now of you in the Army All-American game, looking like a little baby face right there. A lot more hair back then, too.
If you take this beard off, that baby face is still there.
I love it. You became a starter by your sophomore year here at Notre Dame in 2017. By your senior year, you had not allowed a sack through 6 games until you suffered a season-ending injury in that Michigan game, but you came back for your graduate year in 2020, and you earned first-team All-ACC honors, the one and only
the
time.
1 year, yes, ma'am.
That's awesome. So we've seen this Irish offensive line suffer significant injuries. They've been plugging in, moving guys around, trying to find that right match, and you actually kind of lived through the same thing. Guys had to change positions this season. You did the same thing while you were at Notre Dame, and we've talked about this before. How challenging is that for an offensive lineman to have to change positions?
It's always tough, especially when you're going, from tackle to guard or from right side to left side, changing up your stance. The speed's a little bit different when guys are on top of you, playing in front of you. But Notre Dame does a great job of kind of cross-training guys in the offseason, whether it's in spring ball or the summer, getting that exposure to both left and right, guard, tackle, center. So Notre Dame really prepares you for it because the truth is injuries happen and it's the next man in mentality.
Well, it has been all season long. How would you grade this offensive line if you had to give them a grade or a grade point average, and where would you like to see them continue to improve?
They've done a good job. It's not easy. They've had a lot of injuries, guys plugging in, coming into play. The big thing I would say is just the communication, I think, could improve a little bit, making sure everyone's seeing things through one set of eyes and seeing defenses, recognizing it all on the same page.
You had a chance to play for the great Harry Heastand, who is one of the best here at Notre Dame, the offensive line coach. What did he do so well? And what about current offensive line coach Joe Rudolph? Are there similarities? What is Joe doing to uphold that tradition of the offensive line here at Notre Dame?
Absolutely. So Harry was unbelievably detail-oriented. He let nothing slip, and I think that's why all the guys that played for him had the success that they did. And I don't know Coach Rudolph super well, but talking to the guys that are playing, they love him. They still has that same, attention to detail that Harry did, which is the biggest thing.
What does that mean, though? Like, Brett, what is the detail, in the preparation? Like, what is that? The communication?
Yeah, I mean, everything. Footwork, communication, where the guy in front of you's lined up, stance, everything. Everything you do or did with Harry, he thought about and corrected you if it wasn't the way it should have been.
Well, you also were undrafted free agent,
Yes,
but
ma'am.
you had a career in the NFL. You had the opportunity to play for both the Detroit Lions and the New Orleans Saints. What do you feel like is the biggest difference when you come from, this is a major program with a great offensive line, but then you get to the NFL, and I'm imagining it's a whole different story.
Absolutely. And it was the same thing, kind of the level from high school to college, and then same with college to the NFL. Guys are bigger, guys are stronger, guys are faster. But I do think Notre Dame did a great job preparing you for that mental side. We had to go to class, including, playing at a high-level football. So Notre Dame did a great job preparing us for that next level.
Yeah.
You told us that you did play for Dan Campbell, his
Yes.
first season
Yep.
with the Lions.
Yes, and I wish Dan and the Lions nothing but the best. Brock Wright's up there crushing it at tight end. We have a lot of good memories up there and good friends.
Are you picking the Lions this year?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Well, we did a really cool story about you and your former teammates Josh Lugg and Cole Mabry and Liam Eichenberg. All returning to Michiana to start Golden Legacy, a boutique real estate investment brokerage and management company. And you can all watch that story on our website at ABC57.com. How cool has it been to partner with your best friends in this venture?
It's been unbelievable, and for a few different reasons, right? When you're here, when you're playing especially offensive line, it's all about communication and trust and making sure everyone's on the same page. So taking that into business has been awesome. I can trust that Josh and Cole and Liam are going to get their job done, just like they can trust me that I'm going to do mine.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining
Absolutely.
us.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, love him or hate him, nearly every Notre Dame fan has an opinion about Charlie Weiss.
Walked in, I was afraid the stadium was going to fall down, so I was a little bit concerned, but it didn't. So far, so good.
I talked one-on-one with the former Irish head coach coming up about his time at Notre Dame and what he thinks of this current team. That's coming up next.
From ABBA to the Irish Jig, it's one of my favorite tailgate traditions at Notre Dame, the Midnight Drummers Circle. Every Friday night before home game, students and fans gather at the steps of the Golden Dome. At midnight, the bells of the Basilica chime, then the Notre Dame drumline performs to fire up the Irish faithful and mark the official beginning of game day. Thanks to photojournalist Jenna Stopczynski for shooting that for us. And welcome back to ABC 57 Kickoff as we count you down to Notre Dame versus Florida State tonight under the lights in what is going to be a very chilly Notre Dame stadium, especially for Florida State and their fans who are probably not traveling from Tallahassee up here.
Let's be honest. I mean, it might be still a neat experience to come to Notre Dame if you've not been, but, man, it's hard to be on board with a 1-8 team. That's tough.
Especially when it's chilly out.
Yeah, I had my hand warmers in. I was fiddling with them while we came back on camera.
And we have a check of that to game day forecast with meteorologist Emmett Toomey for a check of that forecast. The tailgate lots, Emmett, how are they looking right now?
Vahid, Allison, good morning. Well, the one question we've been asked here as we're moving around the tailgate lots, is it going to warm up? The short answer is yes, of course. It's still morning time. You have a light wind blowing in right now. The parking lots still aren't full. There's not a lot of bodies here, so you're not going to be feeling that heat quite yet. But make no mistake, Notre Dame is used to winning against Florida State in all kinds of weather. Let's shift now to Notre Dame's 5 wins against Florida State since 1981. Notre Dame beating them in all varieties of temperatures. Back in 2018, 29 degrees. That was in South Bend, rain and snow falling, but he mentioned that it felt like -10 in the morning. It was a chilly Notre Dame win against the Seminoles. Now, compare that to 2021, beating them in Florida at 91 degrees. Notre Dame beating them in a wider range of temperatures than Florida State beating Notre Dame in that all-time record. Now, as for that warm-up, don't you worry. Temperatures are going to be climbing to the upper 50s today for your daily temperature. Moving into the overnight, falling back down to the upper 40s, and rain arriving late, likely after the game. But again, Notre Dame doing great in all kinds of weather. Right now against the Seminoles, 3-3 when you have rain in the forecast, and that's going to be what we're watching for as the rain arrives a little bit later tonight with hopefully an Irish victory. And meteorologist Emmett Toomey, ABC 57 Kickoff, back to you, Allison and Vahid.
All right, Emmett, thanks so much. The Golick Family Subpart charity event hosted by Notre Dame broadcasting legend Mike Golick and his family brings dozens of Irish legends back to South Bend every summer.
And I have to admit, when I walked into Notre Dame Stadium, I was caught by surprise. I could not believe what I was seeing, and I saw former Irish football coach Charlie Weis. He was holding court with a group of his former players. It was only his second time back on campus since he was fired back in 2009, but he returns to South Bend often to visit his daughter Hannah, who lives at the Hannah and Friends community that Charlie and his wife Maura developed to help their daughter and others with special needs. So I took that opportunity to catch up with Weis from what he's up to now to this year's team, his son Charlie Weis Jr., who's now a coach, and of course, being back in the house, that Rockne Belt.
I walked in, I was afraid the stadium was going to fall down, so I was a little bit concerned, but it didn't, so far so good. It was actually is ironic because I was already coming in town to visit my daughter and visit my charity. So I reached out to Mike Golick Jr. and said, hey, I'm going to be in town. I said, I haven't been around. I've only been on campus once since I left. But for the Golicks who were so good to me personally, to our family, and to Hannah and Friends, I felt that I'd be remiss if I didn't make the offer. I try to stay low-key when I'm in town because I understand that, when you're the ex-head coach at Notre Dame, you're the ex-head coach at Notre Dame. So, I think that you have to understand your role.
You now are doing a radio show for Sirius XM. And tell us a little bit about that, and how did you kind of cross over into to the dark side, to the media side?
The irony is when I went to Notre Dame as a student, I wanted to be a sports announcer. So when I was done coaching, Sirius XM approached me and said, would you like to do a radio show? Now it's 5 days a week, Monday to Friday, with Bob Papa, who is a radio voice of the New York Giants. We do it from 10 to noon every day on NFL Radio XM, Sirius XM, NFL Radio Channel 88. But I mean, it's kind of fun. It keeps my mind going, and it just keeps you involved in the game.
Does it kind of scratch that football itch a little bit too?
Well, actually, with my son being the offensive coordinator at Ole Miss, I'm a fan once a week, and that's when Ole Miss plays, because I get an opportunity to vicariously live through him.
Yes, sir! Let's go! Great job!
And even though I work for the Patriots and Notre Dame and the Giants and the Jets, the Chiefs, I don't root for anybody. I just watch. There's only once a week that I'm a fan, and that's when Ole Miss plays, because blood is thicker than water.
Well, back when Charlie Jr. was at South Bend St. Joe High School, I did a story on him as the team manager, and it's been really neat to watch his progression and growth over the years. For you as a father, but also maybe as a media person, how have you seen him grow from this, high school kid who's cutting tape in the back at practice to now he's an OC in the big leagues here?
I think that it was really important for him to pay his dues, like do every dirty job known to mankind, be the grinder, be that person who would do everything to make sure that people didn't feel that he was entitled. And, he obviously has a bond with Lane Kiffin. They're like the odd couple. It's like Oscar and Felix, but they get along great, and Lane lets him do his deal on offense, even though Lane's an offensive guy. And
can you put that media hat on for a second and kind of tell me a little bit about, if you're okay with that, like thoughts on Notre Dame for this season and what you're expecting out of them?
Well, I think Marcus has done a good job of not being the story and letting the players be the story. And that's one of the problems that I felt with both me and with Kelly. The story was more about us than about what's really important. That's the players. And he's done a good job. He's assembled a very good staff. I liked his offensive coordinator hire. Obviously, Al Golden, I coached Al Golden.
I did not realize that.
I was his position coach with the Patriots out of college. So that's how long I've known Al Golden. But I think they're set up for long success.
I just love that. It was great catching up with Charlie. That was the first time I'd seen him since he was fired in 2009, and I was there shooting video the day he arrived on campus for the first time back in 2004, and I was there shooting video on his final day as he was leaving campus 5 years later. Charlie told me he hasn't really felt welcome on campus since then, but I'm glad that he was here this summer, and hopefully that will sort of open the door for him to come back more in the future.
A little softer side of Charlie.
Yes, for sure.
Than we've seen in the past. Weiss certainly had some highs and lows during his 4 seasons at Notre Dame, including 19 wins in 2005 and 2006 with Brady Quinn at the helm. And let's not forget, he was the offensive coordinator for the New England Patriots for 3 of their Super Bowl wins in the early 2000s. But what an interesting conversation. He gave you a pretty cool nugget about current Notre Dame defensive coordinator Al Golden.
Charlie said that when he arrived in South Bend, he actually tried to hire Al Golden as his defensive coordinator. They've known each other since Al was a tight end for the New England Patriots, and Charlie said he made the offer, but that Al was the DC at Virginia at that time, and his head coach was like, I'm not letting him go.
And if I was Marcus Freeman, I'd be the same way.
Exactly.
Not
and
letting him go.
We should mention that today, Charlie Weiss Jr. and his Ole Miss team, they are hosting Alabama today. So there's some chance right there that Alabama could get knocked out of the playoff picture.
Man, in early November, that would be insane.
How crazy was the video of Charlie Jr. back when he was in high school? I'm
and you were there.
I was there for that.
Yeah.
He was doing stuff that no other kid I've ever seen. This high school coach says, as a manager, he was breaking down film like a college or NFL coach, and you'd see Junior on the sideline with the headset on, as if he was one of the coaches. Incredible experience.
Well, for him and for Alabama and Ole Miss, high stakes November. The first playoff rankings are out, and as of right now, the Irish, they are in. But a lot could change over the next month. We break it all down for you coming up next. Well, the drinks are starting to flow in the tailgates, and so are the buffets. Notre Dame hoping to eat while they're on a hot streak against Florida State, who has been nothing but ice cold this season. The Irish and Seminoles getting ready to face off under the lights. It's the only night game this season in South Bend at Notre Dame Stadium.
So, welcome back to ABC57 Kickoff. I'm Allison Hayes alongside Vahid Sadrazadeh and Levon Whitaker joining us now. And if the season ended right now, the Irish would have a shot to play for the national championship.
The first playoff rankings were released Tuesday. As expected, Oregon, #1 in the nation. Ohio State at 2, Georgia 3, Miami and Texas round out the top 5. Right now, Notre Dame is ranked 10th. But with 4 weeks left in the regular season still, a lot will change, especially some of the teams currently in that top 12 still have to play each other.
Yeah, so how does the new playoff format work? It's pretty confusing, and so we're going to walk you through it. Take a look. The 12 playoff teams will be the 5 conference champions, ranked highest by the CFP selection committee, plus the next 7 highest ranked teams. The 4 highest-ranked conference champs will be seeded 1 through 4 and receive a first-round bye. The 5th conference champion will be seeded wherever they're ranked in the top 12. And if they are outside of the top 12, they'll automatically take that final spot. As an independent with no conference championship, the highest Notre Dame can be seeded is 5th. Now, this is where it gets a little confusing and the difference between seedings and rankings come in. If any non-conference champion or independent is ranked in the top 4, they will be seeded at 5. The 8 teams seeded 5 through 12 will play in the first round, the higher seeds hosting the lower seed. After the first round, teams will start facing off in bowl games, and past relationships will be considered. For example, the Sugar Bowl has historically been played between the top SEC and Big 12 teams. So, if the SEC champion is ranked #1 and the Big 12 champ is ranked #3, the SEC would go to the Sugar Bowl, and the Big 12 champ would play elsewhere. Quarterfinal and semifinal opponents will be decided by the bracket. This year, the national championship will be played on January 20th at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Clear as mud, right, guys?
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
Now, the college football playoff bracket will follow the selection committee's rankings with no modifications. So there will be nothing changing in case, like, to avoid a rematch between teams, or if they've already played it during the regular season, or if they are in the same conference. Doesn't matter.
Well, listen, I think this bracket right now is it's not settled at all. We know that, but it's not going to be the case. I mean, you look at Miami, they haven't beaten anybody of substance this season. They don't have a defense. They allow all these teams to score. I think Notre Dame really wants to be right now in that 8 through 12 spot, because they can face either an Oregon or a BYU, or if Colorado wins out, they can beat Colorado as well. I think that's what Notre Dame wants to be.
Do you guys feel like, based on where they're at right now, if Notre Dame wins out, do you feel like Notre Dame has a chance to be in that, 5 through 8 and be able to host here in South Bend?
I don't know. There's going to be a lot of teams in the SEC and the Big Ten that finish with 2 losses, and I think that's very important if you're Notre Dame. You're sitting here looking at the schedule, and you're like, well, Notre Dame really hasn't played that many teams that are really good. You had that opening game win against Texas A&M. That is looming large, but so is the loss to NIU. That's also looming large for the committee. So I think if Notre Dame finishes 5 through 8, that's where they want to be. They want somebody to come to Notre Dame Stadium on December 20th or 21st to play a winter game here. They have the advantage, and I think they could do that if they finish with 1 loss.
I'm not buying. I'm actually scared of them playing at home. They haven't been great here. As much as we love to talk about Notre Dame playing in their own climate and having one of those Southern teams come up here, they haven't been great inside their own stadium, and those are the facts. I don't know if Notre Dame want to take that chance right now. Go 8 through 9.
Hey.
You can beat Oregon. You can beat BYU.
Oregon?
Hey.
Notre Dame can beat Oregon. Oregon is riding this train right now. I don't believe in Dylan Gabriel. I'm saying this on the record.
Whoa.
This is strictly on the coach.
Hot take.
The head coach is leading that team to victory, and when it comes down to it, Al Golden can out-coach Oregon's offense.
Listen, Levon, I saw Notre Dame play at Miami a couple years ago, and I don't want to see that again.
No.
I want Miami to come here, and I don't care how good Notre Dame has been all season long. It's a different Postseason is different play. You make those guys come up here, I would take that any day of the week. Any day of the week.
Hey. I guess we'll see.
I'll take Miami, though.
Hey, Miami,
Oregon,
BYU, Miami, all in the same boat. Well, listen, he's currently with the New York Giants, but defensive end Brian Burns remembers all too well what it's like to face off against Notre Dame in November, as we just said, under the lights.
It was intense. It was a lot of trash talking on the field. It was intense.
I'll talk to former Noel about tonight's matchup coming up after the break.
Florida State was definitely my dream school, definitely my favorite school. Growing up watching E.J. Manuel, Jameis Winston, it's always been a dream of me to play there. So going against them, I take it personal. They didn't believe in me coming out of high school, so it's like, yeah, I'm gonna go show them what I got.
It's personal for Notre Dame wide receiver Chris Mitchell. He's pumped up to take on Florida State tonight. The grad transfer grew up in Jacksonville, but was never recruited by the Noles. Mitchell says he's excited to show them what they missed out on by not taking him. It's a 7:30 kickoff inside Notre Dame Stadium.
That's right. Of course, the Irish are coming off that big win over Navy at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. We had a blast on our trip. Check out some of the sites that we were able to kind of, take in the good feel of what it was like there. We found Ned Bolkar's jersey hanging up at one of his favorite spots. The 1988 captain is a Garden State native. We also took a little Sopranos tour. That was a lot of fun as well.
And we got a chance to check out the inside of the New York Giants locker room after practice, and we spoke with several players, including former Notre Dame cornerback Nick McLeod and some former opponents of the Irish.
That's right. I was able to talk one-on-one with former Florida State defensive end Brian Burns. He played 3 seasons for the Seminoles, racking up 39.5 tackles for loss and 24 sacks, and he was selected 16th overall in the 2019 NFL Draft by the Carolina Panthers. He faced off against the Irish here in South Bend back in 2018. Notre Dame not only beat the Seminoles that year, but Brian Burns wasn't exactly a fan of this climate here in the month of November?
It was crazy, I ain't gonna lie. We went there, it was super cold. I was not a fan of that. Overall, they got the best of us. I had a pretty good game, but overall they had the best of us. But it was intense. There was a lot of trash talking on the field. It was intense.
Obviously, Florida State going through a little rough patch right now, but I mean, what's your prediction? What's your thoughts?
Man, we could be 0-7 right now. I'm still going with State. You know what it is, especially going against them. You know, so like with those type of games, the intensity level's gonna rise. You never can know which way it's gonna go. But I will say this. Me and the old boy right here gonna put up a little. A little wager. I got some gift for him to wear if we pull off this win.
So you and Nick McLeod gonna have a little friendly wager. Now you're not gonna do it with DeForest Buckner did and put him in the Seminole outfit. Like
if I can get that, I will.
What's your thoughts then? What you thinking about doing? What off the top of your head?
What as far as gift?
Yeah.
He gonna wear my jersey. I got my jersey and my pants back at the crib. He gonna come down looking like me from State. For sure.
Well, Nick McLeod and Brian Burns got two different body types, I'm sure. If Notre Dame beats Florida State tonight, unfortunately, Nick McLeod won't be in the locker room to collect on that wager from Burns. The Giants released him earlier this week. Unfortunately, that's just part of the business. We wish McLeod the best of luck as he searches for a new team, but it was such a great experience, guys, being in the locker room, hearing the guys tease each other and talk trash about playing Notre Dame.
As good as that trip was, that was probably the highlight. It was so fun in there. And Brian Burns' hand is like massively huge.
When he shook my hand and came into my forearm, he's built like an action figure in real life.
He is. One thing that stood out to me, though, was that you also had the chance to talk to SC Adoree Jackson. And those guys both, we all criticize that the atmosphere in Notre Dame Stadium isn't that raucous or that loud. And both of those guys said, that it was loud and that it was an intense atmosphere here. So I was shocked by that, to be honest.
Absolutely.
The Irish are about a 4-touchdown favorite over the Seminoles tonight, but where should you put your money? I'm already cold, so we know where I'm going to put my money. We take you inside the lines with Levon coming up next.
Last play of the game. This is it. Ward flushed out of the pocket. Throwing in the end zone. Knocked down by Wooden. The game is over. The Irish is upset. Florida State. Notre Dame wins. Pandemonium on the field.
Welcome back to ABC 57 Kickoff Inside the Lines. Where should you put your money tonight? Well, it's brought to you today by Jets Pizza in Mishawaka. They've got a great deal, Allison.
My money is going on pizza. It's not going to any kind of betting. I'm not good at that. I'll put my money on pizza. They have a special going right now. One topping. Yep. With breadsticks and a 2-liter a pop, just $23.99, and look at that. I mean, man, does that look good?
That barbecue chicken pizza right there.
I
might take my parlay money and put it on this pizza, too.
It looks real
Well, for
good.
those of you who do gamble, Levon, help us out.
Well, listen, too bad we're not at home this game because I've been great on the road. You see I don't have my hat and my gloves on. I'm feeling good. I'm hot. I'm hot, baby.
I got you.
Don't worry about it. Don't ruin the mood. Don't ruin the mood. Listen, I feel like that's when I had the best luck. Last game against Navy, I was one Riley Leonard touchdown short of hitting my parlay, but I did take Notre Dame to hit that team total over 33.5 points. That's what Tim Murray with Vegas Sports and Information suggested. That was his play for the day. Let's see what he has to say about tonight's game against Florida State.
You know, it's funny when you look back at what this game was over the summer. Notre Dame was only a 4-point favorite in this game at a number of sports books. Now they're 26-point favorites. We've seen a change of 22 points. I was initially leaning going under Florida State's team total, but that number being so low, a couple fluky things happen, and ultimately you could get over that number. So I lean Florida State team total under, but I'm starting to get a little bit more trust in this Irish offense. And I think Notre Dame should be able to have some success against Florida State. Coming off of a bye, I imagine Mike Denbrock has added a couple new wrinkles to this offense. So the way I would ultimately look if I were to bet this game, I would go over 28.5 for the team total of Notre Dame.
Well, listen, you heard Tim talk about the difference, 26-point difference over the summer. It's not no longer 28 now. It is 34.5 points for the team total for Notre Dame, another touchdown. But since the loss to NIU, Notre Dame is averaging 42 points per game. And check this out. Even if you look at the second quarter, Notre Dame has not scored less than 14 points in the second quarter, but 3 games, obviously one of them again against NIU. So this team has a lot to look forward to. I think they can hit that 34-point mark, 34.5 mark, because Florida State's defense cannot stop a leak in my bathroom. They are terrible. So, Tim, I believe you in this game, and I think for the offense to be sponsored by the run game, they're going to be very productive today. Denbrock's creativity will definitely add to that. I'm still riding with Notre Dame's team total over. But I have a parlay, Levon's parlay, plus 365. You can get Riley Leonard touchdown, Jeremiah Love touchdown, Riley Leonard and Jeremiah Love to get 50 rushing touchdowns, 50 rushing yards, and then the team total, that's plus 365. But I also want to introduce you guys to the Levon's parlay board. And let's talk about a couple of things. That you look at this, and I tell you, Allison, you always say, I don't know what any of that means.
I don't.
Break this down for me.
All I'm thinking about is pizza right now, guys. Sorry.
If I split this $20 bill for you guys right now, I gave you $10 a piece, what would you put your money at?
Just pizza?
Ditto. But what would you put your money at?
I'd put my money on Love.
Now, what does the minus 230 mean? That he'll have less than 230 yards?
So that's the odds. So if to score a touchdown, Jeremiah Love is minus 230 for Riley Leonard is minus 260. That means they are very likely to get that touchdown. So the more likely it is to happen, the lower the odds are. The less likely it is to happen in Chris Mitchell's case, plus 340 is higher odds. So plus 340. If you place Jeremiah Love and Riley Leonard together as a parlay, because a parlay is 1 and 2, more than one bet, that's plus 104. You put $10 on that, that's $10 that you earn back.
So Notre Dame right now is plus 3,000 to win the college football playoff. That means if you put $100 in, you win $3,000 at the end of the season. But I'll take this and keep it safe for you.
If you feel like donating to charity, go ahead and put Notre Dame down and win the national championship. I'm sure the donations are welcome.
You can have the 20. This boy be eating all season long on Levon's parlay. Right ahead. Jets Pizza bringing you inside the lines. We've got so much more to come here on ABC 57 Kickoff. We'll be right back.
Sacrifice. None shall be sacrificed. We're going to get them on a run. We're going to go, go, go. And we aren't going to stop until we go that goal line. We are Notre Dame.
Get on the bus. Next stop, Notre Dame Stadium.
From the house that Rockne built to the dynasty of Air Parsegian, this is the home of Fighting Irish football.
The place where greatness is earned 1 yard at a time. The field that forged Notre Dame legends like Theismann, Montana, and Brown.
The land of never quit, never surrender. The legacy, the passion, the tradition. That is Notre Dame football.
ABC57 Kickoff is back.
It's bigger and better
than ever.
Another season of Fighting Irish football. It all starts here.
This is our house. This is our team.
And this is ABC57 Kickoff.
You're watching ABC57 Kickoff, presented by Afdent Dental, live from the campus of Notre Dame, with your hosts, Allison Hayes and Vahid Sadrazadeh.
Notre Dame, Florida State under the lights. The Irish are the heavy favorite and should get the win tonight over the Seminoles, but memories of Northern Illinois have the Notre Dame faithful on edge. They're getting warmed up right now, though. They're ready for this one.
Yeah, we have our hats and gloves on. Who's an IU again?
Yeah.
I can't remember that far
Don't remind me. Welcome back to ABC 57 Kickoff. I'm Allison Hayes.
I'm Vahid Sadrazadeh. A chilly start to the morning here. Welcome, Florida State, to chilly South Bend in the fall. It's going to be a great atmosphere tonight inside Notre Dame Stadium. The Notre Dame D ranks 4th in the nation in scoring defense, allowing just 12 points per game, while the Noles have been, let's just say it, they're garbage right now on both sides of the ball. Ranked 132nd out of 133 teams, averaging just 14 points per game. An Irish transfer, grad transfer, Jordan Clark, has a lot to do with that, those stats. He's made a big impact in the secondary in the short amount of time he's been here.
Yeah, that's right. He's been steadily improving this season at Nickelback, but it's not just his play on the field that's garnering him attention. Jordan is following in his famous father's footsteps and getting the scoop. Jordan Clark has made his presence felt in the Notre Dame secondary. He brings 5 years of experience from Arizona State, where he finished with 139 total tackles, 20 pass deflections, and 3 interceptions. So far at Notre Dame, Clark has 13 total tackles and 3 pass breakups for the Irish. But it's not just the field where the starting nickelback is making a name for himself. It's behind the microphone as well.
Welcome to the Irish Scoop. I'm your host, Jordan Clark.
Clark hosts his own podcast, The Irish Scoop, a bi-weekly show at Murphy's Ice Cream Shop in Eddy Street Commons.
The other one better. Oh, sure.
The seed was planted for hosting his own show after he appeared on former Notre Dame safety Sean Crawford's Varsity House podcast.
You can't get complacent. Like, you literally cannot get complacent. You always see somebody working. You always see somebody trying to get better.
Varsity House has featured current and former Notre Dame players like quarterback Riley Leonard and star Baltimore Ravens safety Kyle Hamilton. This spring, Jordan sat down with Sean to talk about his decision to transfer to Notre Dame.
It's a very professional air. We had a great conversation, and he felt like it was something that I could possibly be good at. You know, he's looking to give guys a platform, looking to give guys an opportunity to maximize their time, you know, in college, and obviously me being here, maximize my Notre Dame experience.
Sean took Jordan under his wing and helped him develop the Irish Scoop under the Varsity House umbrella.
You know, in Jordan's case, he was very professional, very comfortable, and, you know, throughout the podcast, he even gave me some questions that made me think a little bit. I had the idea already in my head. I talked to his dad about it, and I was like, Jordan, like, if you're committed to do this, like, let's roll and do it.
Making the move from football player to media member is a natural transition for Jordan. His father, Ryan, was a Pro Bowl safety and won a Super Bowl with the Steelers in 2008. After 13 seasons in the league, he has worked for ESPN and now hosts Inside the NFL on the CW.
He is a ball guy. We ain't seen a punch out like this since Mike Tyson's punch out.
And hosts the Pivot podcast.
Jordan made his decision to now be at Notre Dame as an adult, right? It was, I'm gonna talk to my pops and I'm gonna give him all the options and all the thoughts, but it's your decision to make. And now he sits in his decision every day, no matter what happens, wins, losses, good days, bad days. And he gets to understand that I put myself here. How do I live through it?
Following in Dad's footsteps, Jordan has brought on teammates like wide receiver Bo Collins and running back Jeremiah Love.
When somebody's down, pick them up and just keep going, man, and just don't stop. Don't bring us down.
And he's asked some hard-hitting questions to Benjamin Morrison.
Who on the team would you least like to date your sister?
See, I just wouldn't let anyone date my sister on my team. I don't think there's one person.
And he's even shared the mic with Irish legend Jerome Bettis.
Quick segment. It's called the lightning round. Bunch of questions. Okay. And you answer them as fast as you can.
How can I do that with ice cream in my mouth?
And it's been amazing. Had a great conversation. Got to meet some really cool people.
Whether it's making big plays on the field or talking with his Notre Dame brothers over ice cream, Jordan knows he's right where he needs to be.
Yeah, it's been everything that I expected it to be. Through wins and losses, I've grown so much, so many lessons. I met so many amazing people, been able to push myself and grow in every area of my life. So I look back on my decision, and there's no doubt that I did the right thing.
Very cool. You can tell he's got a really bright future, and he's got a great mentor in his own father to look up to and kind of follow in those footsteps.
Such a fun podcast, too. It's lighthearted. They're at the ice cream shop, which I really want to
Oh,
go
yeah.
to now, which is brand new here on Eddy Street. And hopefully we'll be talking to his dad coming up in this show, Ryan Clark,
Yes.
on ABC57.
That's
Kickoff.
right. And the legends are taking over ABC 57 Kickoff today. When we come back, 1988 national champions Michael Stonebreaker and Frank Stams join us live to talk some football. Stay with us.
Love those shirts.
It is a championship caliber ABC 57 Kickoff today. Not one, but two Irish legends joining us right now from the 1988 National Championship team. Consensus All-American Frank Stams and College Football Hall of Famer Michael Stonebreaker joining us now. This question for both of you guys is, very few athletes ever have the opportunity to win a national championship. The two of you guys did it together as teammates. How has that affected your lives sort of moving forward, both of you?
Well, it's something when you're dedicating yourself for a common cause, you come together as a group and you put that effort in. You go through the ups and downs of a college football season. Luckily, we had a lot of ups for our 88 season. And so when you put that kind of bond and commitment together, when you see each other 15, 20 years later, it's like you just saw each other yesterday. Because
Go ahead. It was sorry. I didn't mean, it was special then, and it's even more special now. Sharing, looking back, sharing it with the guys, reliving a lot of the game and the memories, and really the fan experience. Meeting the fans, so many that are out here that come, and meeting kids that were 4 and 5 years old when that game happened, 7, 8 years old that went to the game, and so many memories. It's just so special.
Saw you both signing autographs, taking pictures, just waiting to come on the show. I see the national championship ring right there, I'm guessing.
Actually, this is the College Football Hall of Fame.
Oh,
ring.
nice.
Which is a lot bigger than
Thank you very
national
much.
championship.
Well, let's take a walk down memory lane before we get too deep in the conversation and some career stats. We like to give them out. Michael, let's start with you. In 3 seasons in South Bend, you tallied 220 career tackles, 8 pass breakups, and 5 interceptions, including a pick 6. You were selected in the 9th round of the 1991 NFL Draft by the Chicago Bears, where you played 3 seasons in the league and then went on to win a world championship with the Frankfurt Galaxy. And just this past year, you were enshrined into that College Football Hall of Fame. Not too shabby. Michael, you not only played for Lou Holtz, but you also played for Hall of Fame coach Barry Alvarez. What was the lasting impact that Barry had on your life?
Well, first of all, on those stats you just mentioned, I had a lot more tackles than 220. I don't know where that number came from, but having a coach like Barry Alvarez, when we would drive by the ACC at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night, and you saw his light on, he's a coach that I would go in, hang out, go into his office, break down game film because you wanted to be around him. Some of the other coaches, if their lights were on, you kind of went the other way as fast as you could, right? But Barry's a great guy. He let us be ourselves. He let us be jokesters and have a good time. But when it was time to practice hard, we practiced really hard. And so when at game time, we were ready, we were prepared. He knew how to call an excellent defensive game plan, and we had success. And we all know that defense wins championships.
Yes, it does. Do you still have a relationship with him today?
Yeah, I talked to Barry 3 weeks ago. He's down in Florida, and his grandson is playing for the Dallas Cowboys, a tight end. And so, yeah, we talk all the time.
Oh, I love that. All right, now, Frank, it's your turn.
Okay,
you
I'm
came
ready.
to Notre
I'm
Dame
ready.
as a running back, and you had 3 rushing touchdowns, but then you transitioned to linebacker under Lou Holtz and became an All-American your senior year. You were a second-round draft pick by the LA Rams and finished your 7-year NFL career with 191 tackles, 2 sacks, and 2 interceptions. Take us through that transition, going from running back to linebacker, and what was that initial conversation like with Coach Holtz, and how challenging was that move?
Conversation? It's a little one-sided, I can tell you that. For some reason, I thought I was going to be the next Larry Zonka coming into Notre Dame, wanted to run the ball. Things didn't work out. The broken leg had a lot to do with that. But linebacker was more of a natural position for me. So the transition was very easy. And, of course, my first-year position coach was Barry Alvarez. Fabulous guy. Really made me comfortable and really brought out the potential in me that I hadn't seen up until that point.
Well, and a little-known fact, since your NFL career came to an end, you've done a little bit of everything, from being on the city council to sports analyst. And if you could, for us, put your analyst hat on for us here with this Notre Dame team. Injuries, as we know, can destroy a lot of that chemistry that they build during the offseason. The Irish have had to deal with injuries both on the offense and the defense. How are they able to play at such a high level right now with these injuries?
So I'm so impressed. Lou Holtz would be impressed with your preparation and your as far as the councilman. But injuries, chemistry can disrupt a team, and I'm a big believer in chemistry. All great teams have chemistry, and you saw the disruption earlier on in the season with the one loss. But leadership and character are vital in that chemistry mix, not only on the sidelines but on the field and in the locker room. And you're seeing this team find that chemistry, and they're getting better. This team is getting really good right now. They're eliminating a lot of the mistakes, and they're just playing more consistent. And that, but getting back to your point, leadership and character, both on the sidelines and on the field and in the locker room, are a big part of keeping that chemistry alive and putting together a winning team.
I'm supposed to ask you a question now about this Notre Dame football team, but you guys are too good together. I know you have got some stories from the locker room from back in your day. You got to throw each other under the bus here a little bit. I got to know. You guys still mess around with each other. You've been giving us a hard time since you've been here.
Well, I showed up at Notre Dame as a shy young kid from New Orleans and kind of was a little homesick and, felt a little lost. And I think Frank saw that one day and he kind of put his, came up and put his arm around me and took me under the wing and brought me to dinner. And, he kind of told me that he was going to show me the way here in South Bend.
And I knew Michael was going to be okay. Not only was he fast, tough, aggressive, great instinct, all of the above, but one time on the field, after a play, he was there laying on his back, and it didn't look good. And I went over to him, Mike. I said, are you okay? He said, Frank, I'm okay. How are the fans taking it? So I knew Mike at that point had the sense of humor to play the game and fit right in with the older guys.
You two kind of have you don't seem shy at all, and you're a little more reserved, and you kind of balance each other out, maybe.
Yeah, that's what it is. Frank does all the heavy lifting, and I come in for the easy stuff.
What about Lou? I know, he made another trip to South Bend this past fall, and talk about your relationship with Lou. And everybody's got a story about Lou from the '88 season. What is your fondest memory?
I appreciated Lou. He was able to get 17, 18, 19-year-old kids, get them all focused on the common goal. And the greatest thing that we did was the night before games when we did our relaxation period, and I still do it to this day. He'd lay everybody out in this ACC on the ground, and he'd go through, you're very relaxed, everything, your head is relaxed, you're going to have a great game, it's just reinforcing the positive things, and that's what he did. He said, he would downplay us to the media, right? But he would do nothing but give us the most positive outcome and game plan. So
it's really ahead of his time because that's such an important focus now on mental health, and that sounds like sort of what he was working with you guys on then.
He was outstanding. Not only did he prepare you to play football, but he prepared you for life and the lessons. And I'm teaching these. I'm sharing the things that he shared or he taught me with my family and our friends. He's just an outstanding individual.
Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. You have very cool shirts on.
Oh,
If you'd like to get one of these shirts, go to the Linebacker today between 2 and 4 o'clock. You guys will be signing autographs, and the money from these, a portion of that proceed will go to the Notre Dame NIL Fund to help support these student athletes here on campus.
And also the Holtz Heroes Foundation. We're donating to that. It's N88D.com, and we're selling the shirts.
Awesome. Yes. Today, the Linebacker, 2 to 4, Frank Stams and Michael Stonebreaker. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Stick around because you don't want to miss our next guest. Check out who we've got. Ryan Clark. He's a Super Bowl champ, but when he's on Notre Dame's campus, he's Jordan Clark's dad. We'll have him up next. Welcome back to ABC 57 Kickoff. We are joined now by Super Bowl champion and Emmy-winning analyst Ryan Clark. And I said this in that break. When you're here on campus, though, you're now known as Jordan Clark's dad. And I think that's got to be the best title, right?
Yeah, it's the best part about it. I honestly grew up a huge Notre Dame fan. I had Notre Dame jackets. My mom sent me a picture when Jordan committed here. She took a picture of me sleeping, which is weird. But I had on a Notre Dame T-shirt. And so to get an opportunity to see him play on this field, wear those gold helmets along with his brothers out there, I mean, it's an amazing feeling for me. But Saturdays are nerve-wracking, and I hate them until the game is over.
I love that. Right now, we're going to show a picture to our viewers right now of an adorable photo of Jordan from what looks like maybe when he was like preschool or kindergarten graduation. At what point, as he's growing up and developing, did you see that he had the talent and the ability to maybe play at this high level?
Probably it wasn't until a conversation we had when he was in the 8th grade. Like, he played every sport growing up. Soccer was actually his best sport. We were driving to practice one day, and he was like, "Dad, I want to play college ball." And I was like, "Well, you're not going to be very tall, son, so it's not going to be hoops." And I was like, "So it's going to probably be football." And he was like, "Well, I want to play receiver." I was like, "I've also seen you catch a football. I don't know if that's going to be the thing either." But I was like, if you play DB, you have a skill set where you can do it. You have an opportunity to do it. We could develop that sort of toughness, the understanding of the game. And I think it was about his sophomore year. We started traveling to all of these different camps. He competed extremely well. He was tough. He was a kid that truly wanted it and showed it. And I think around that time we started to learn and started getting some scholarship offers, and, it's ended him up here.
College football is all about growing on the field as well and learning moments. And he had one of those learning moments against Louisville. It got chippy kind of in that first half. And they had the incident where the Louisville player spit in Jordan's face, and he got the penalty from it. What was that experience like for him as a learning moment? What did you tell him after that game?
Well, if anybody's ever watched me play football, they know, like, you don't grow up soft in my house. And I think spitting on someone is one of the most disrespectful things you can do. The conversation is obviously you don't want to hurt your team, but I've told him since he was a little kid, the thing that we have to do is be able to look at ourselves in the mirror as men at night and respect our decision-making, respect who we are. And I think sometimes when other people don't do their job in sort of officiating the way that other humans are treated, you got to take it into your own hands. And I understood some of the flack that he got, and I get the people who love Notre Dame football and how they feel about that situation. I understand them. I love Jordan Clark. I love that human. I love that young man. And if he felt in any way that that was going to add something negative to his life and that was his way of working through it, then I'm all for him doing it. And, we'll accept the football ramifications as they come.
We talked about this after it happened, and we're not supposed to say this, right? But I actually liked that he stood up for himself out there, and this was his house, and you don't come into our house and be disrespected. And so
I think the cool part about that was, like, when a kid transfers, right, after being somewhere for so long when he becomes a captain, you're nervous about the way that they fit in. You're nervous about the sort of friendships that they can make. And when we were leaving the week before Louisville, we're walking away. He was so excited because he said that all of the players who were here the previous year felt disrespected by Louisville, felt that the way that Louisville behaved in the win was something that they needed to make sure they rectify. And he was so excited to be a part of that. He's like, I've been waiting to turn up the entire year. And to me, that said a lot about the way these guys have allowed him to be a part of this locker room, the way he's ingratiated himself into the Notre Dame culture. And I was excited that they got that win.
Well, just a bit ago, before the break, we had a really cool story about Jordan's podcast, The Irish Scoop. And I'm just interested, for you, as a father, you've seen him now. He's following in your footsteps, playing similar position, getting into the media side of things. Did he ever have to sort of, like, step out of your shadow, or did he have pressure on himself football-wise or anything?
I don't know. He's told me he didn't like it, when he was growing up, because he grew up in Louisiana where I played football at LSU, and so he felt like a lot of times people thought he got certain things because of his last name, because of his dad. And he said he used to always have that sort of chip on his shoulder to prove that wasn't it, which I think is a good thing as well. And I believe now he's embraced it. He understands that I was able to play the game and create sort of a legacy for myself and for our family, and he wants to continue that. And so I think it's a beautiful thing. I love it. Like, he is just Jordan to me, right? And he's just himself, and I think he plays in a way that I didn't. I think he's more skilled than I am. And I love the fact that being here, though, he's been able to be a part of something that I dreamed of being a part growing up.
But you were part of a championship defense with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Not that you can compare apples to oranges, but is this a championship defense at Notre Dame with Al Golden?
Yeah, I think Al is who sealed the deal on the visit. We walked in coach's office, and he has this big board with all of these, like, ball disruptions, ways to tackle, ways to take on blocks. And we're football nerds in my home, and so my son right away, he loved that. And what he does with each player on this team, allowing them to be their best selves, the linebacking core, where you're mixing veteran guys with some of these younger, faster, more athletic players up front, guys like Howard Cross, Riley, continuing to put pressure on the quarterback, and Xavier Watts, to me, who's the best safety in the country. And when you can lose a kid like Benjamin Morris, who's a first-round draft pick, and someone like freshman Leonard Moore steps up and plays as well as he's been playing, it tells you about the coaching and development in each of these rooms.
Awesome.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us. You
Thank
can
you, guys.
watch Ryan Clark on Inside the NFL on our sister station, the CW, and, of course, the Pivot Podcast. You can catch him there as well. Just incredible to have you here.
Yes,
we appreciate your time.
Thank you guys so
You're
much.
welcome
Appreciate
anytime.
it. Appreciate it.
Every week
Get
we'll
a
be
cookie
here
out of this, too.
next time.
They got to let me on campus, though. Y'all got to get me a parking pass.
We got you.
Yeah, we got you.
Stick around. We have more to come on ABC57 Kickoff, and we'll go inside the mind of Marcus Freeman on this matchup.
With the same rich tradition of the Irish.
Wake up the echoes cheering her name.
Send the volley cheer on high.
Shake down the thunder from the sky.
What though the odds be great or small?
Old Notre Dame will win overall.
While her loyal sons and daughters
march on to victory.
I'm Manti Teo, and you're watching ABC57 Kickoff.
You're watching ABC57 Kickoff, presented by Afdent Dental, live from the campus of Notre Dame, with your hosts, Allison Hayes and Vahid Sadrazadeh.
Well, the Irish look to keep their playoff dreams alive with a win over Florida State. The Seminoles having a nightmare of a season with just one win. It's a 7:30 kickoff in the house that Rockney built. Welcome back to ABC 57 Kickoff. I'm Allison Hayes, along with Vahid Sadrazadeh and our Levon Whitaker joining us once again. The Notre Dame defense has been the backbone of this team, guys, all season long. The Irish rank in the top 10 in points allowed per game, yards allowed per game, points per play, yards per play, and red zone scoring.
And on the other side of the coin, the Seminoles have struggled offensively all season long. They've only scored 20 points once, and that was back in week 0 when Georgia Tech upset FSU in Ireland 24-21.
Yeah, well, guys, Notre Dame is once again coming off the bye week, and as we talked about it before the game against Stanford, under Marcus Freeman, the Irish are undefeated coming off of the bye. Florida State has only won one game all season, but Coach Freeman says the focus tonight needs to be on what the film says and not what's on paper.
Looking at Notre Dame 8 games into the season, some things are a given.
Our ability to run the ball is something that we have to be able to do.
Over 1,700 rushing yards, an average of 216 yards per game, and 26 touchdowns. I would say the Irish are running the ball at will. Defensively,
you hear me say it all the time, I don't want to play football. I want to be aggressive and violent on defense.
Currently ranked 8th in the country, the Irish can check that box too. But there's something keeping the team humble despite being 26-point favorites against Florida State tonight.
It's a mental preparation and a physical preparation.
Physically, nobody's doubting the Irish, but sometimes a smirk on your record serves as a reminder.
We know what the result is when you don't mentally prepare the right way. We know it.
Like the 16-14 loss to Northern Illinois in the home opener?
That's why I always say keep the pain of NIU, because that's a result of not having the right mindset.
Freeman calls it handling success. It doesn't matter if the Irish are undefeated coming off the bye week or how bad Florida State has played this season.
Listen, it's a very talented football team, and it doesn't take long to turn on the film and realize how talented they are.
On paper, the Seminoles are ranked 132 out of 133 in total offense, 2,300 yards and 13 touchdowns, compared to Notre Dame's 3,200 yards and 36 touchdowns. But it's safe to say, Week 2 keeps Notre Dame from overlooking any team.
They might be one of the most talented teams we face all year, and that's just what the film tells you. And the record doesn't reflect their talent.
The preparation starts with their leader and head coach, Marcus Freeman.
You're going to be presented every day with, 2 options, right? Choose easy, choose hard. And my message will continue to be, we have only one option. It's choose hard. And that's what we have to do to continue to elevate as a program.
Well, guys, through 8 games, the option has been chosen for this team. With the number of injuries they've suffered, the Irish have key players go down throughout this season. That's the hard route that Freeman was just talking about. It's been chosen for them, and they've been able to see it through with the production on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, injuries, huge part of this season, or one of the storylines at least. Next man up, here's a look at the Notre Dame injury report for tonight's game against the Seminoles. Kicker Mitch Jeter is once again questionable. He missed the last 2 games with a hip injury, and defensive end Logan Thomas may also be out. He's dealing with an injured hamstring.
Right, the good news is, though, that safety Tave Johnson is expected to play for the first time this season. He hurt his foot in fall camp and had to have surgery.
Well, they're talking about Tate Johnson's going to go in at that. He's a safety by nature, but he's going to go in at the corner position. And this is a guy who's from Indiana. He's a heck of a player. He can play any receiver, any position. They even say he can play receiver on offense. So.
Well, maybe they just need a Magic Freeman cookie to save their season. I don't know.
It's my favorite dessert to eat. So here we go. I'm going to start with this one. Yeah, I got the gold flakes on it, green, a little Irish color. Really good. That one's it. Tastes like a little velvet. A little frosting.
Got like a buttery sweet taste to it.
This is the cookie sandwich. Got the ND logo on it.
This is delicious.
These cookies fire. You need to come get you one of these. They'll get you a Freeman cookie.
Well, calling all cookie monsters, Notre Dame is kicking off a new game day tradition this year, the Freeman cookie. It's a green velvet sandwich with cream cheese frosting, and some of the proceeds go to the Boys and Girls Club of Northern Indiana.
So what exactly goes into making this tasty treat? It's a tough assignment. Somebody had to do it, and we did. We went inside the kitchen to check it out.
So today we are going to be making the new Freeman cookie, a green velvet cookie with cookie butter cream cheese frosting. He did select 2 cookies. One is actually a sandwich cookie, so it's a little bit of a smaller cookie, and then the cookie butter in the middle smashed together. The other one is the same cookie, it's a green velvet, and then we just piped frosting on top with some gold flakes on it. Brown sugar, regular white sugar, and unsalted butter.
Doing the work.
We are going to add the 2 sugars and the butter into the mixing bowl.
How much butter is in there?
So that is about 12 ounces of butter.
Okay.
So it's quite a bit of butter, but got to have the cookies taste good. So you
We're
need
not on a diet here.
Exactly. We'll let that mix about 2 to 3 minutes. We probably make about 1,000 at a time. We'll lower this down a little bit, pretty light. Most important thing in baking is you always kind of want to scrape down the sides. Our next step here is we are going to add the eggs and vanilla, and then we also added the green food coloring in here. So I will let you do the honors of that.
Visually, it looks really pretty.
Let this mix for about a couple minutes. Get the spatula.
And I left a lot on the spatula last time. That's a rookie move right there.
This is the flour, the cocoa powder, the baking soda, and the salt. We have our cookies that have all come together, and we are ready to scoop them out.
That's the fun part.
That's the fun part.
Squishy.
The squishiness of the cookie, that's right. I try to fill the whole scoop, make sure it's level, like so. Then what we'll do is we'll press it down like that. We'll take the palm, and then we'll kind of squish it down like so. We'll put them on this tray.
Okay.
And we
Does it matter which one?
Right here is good, kind of in the middle. So our oven is set for 350 degrees. This will bake about 8 minutes or so. All right, so we'll shut that.
This is like what you need for Thanksgiving
Yes,
dinner.
exactly.
This would make things
All
a lot
those
easier.
pies, absolutely. Cookies are done.
Quite a few more that magically
That's
appeared on
right.
that tray.
We'll take a couple of these, flip them over.
Okay.
And we'll do the sandwich first. This is a cream cheese frosting, and then we added cookie butter to the cream cheese frosting. Plop it on there.
Depends on who I'm making it for. I might need 2 scoops for mine.
Yes, exactly. Take this, put it on there, give it a little press
Squish it
down,
down.
and then you've got yourself a sandwich cookie. So a little bit of powdered sugar, what we do, and we're just gonna kind of tap that. We'll lift it up, and there you go.
Oh, yeah. Looks good.
We're gonna do kind of like a little rosette.
That's an art form, too.
Yes, it is. Trust me, lots of practice. Finishing touch, just like that.
Beautiful.
Drop it right in there.
Dead center.
Yep.
Ooh, that was harder than it looked. There you go. Order up. Well, cheers.
Go Irish.
Cheers.
Cheers. Go Irish.
Chef's kiss. Mwah, chef's kiss. I'm ready for more cookies.
And you see we have him here, and joining us now is the guy who came up with that, Aaron Wood, culinary operations specialist with Campus Dining. And Aaron, you brought more Freeman cookies with you here today. We're not complaining. How did the whole concept start with Mark?
Yeah, so actually it was a pretty cool concept that we started. So we reached out to Coach Freeman. It's like, hey, Coach, we'd like to partner up with you on doing a signature item, and who else doesn't like cookies? So we figured, let's do a signature cookie. So I kind of proposed the idea to him. He was all in on it. We actually did a cookie tasting as well. So I kind of asked him, like, what kind of cookies does he like? And his favorite cookie that we kind of knew was the red velvet cookie. So I kind of had that background in it, kind of going into the tasting, and then we kind of made it a little bit different, kind of more Notre Dame themed cookie-esque, let's say. So we did a cookie tasting, and we kind of finally came to an agreement that the green velvet sandwich cookie with the cookie butter cream cheese icing was his go-to favorite. So
He made a good decision.
Yeah,
he certainly did. $1 from each one of these cookies sold is being donated back to the Boys and Girls Club here in South Bend.
That's correct.
How much do these cookies go for, and where can you find them?
Yeah, so the cookies are $5 a piece, and then $1 of the proceeds go to the Boys and Girls Club of Northern Indiana Corridor. They are available every day at the Haggerty Family Cafe in the Duncan Student Center. And then on game day weekend, so Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, they are also available at the Gilded Bean inside the bookstore, the C-Store inside the Fortune Student Center, and then DCO Cafe as well. So
I know this idea came together pretty quickly. What are some other ideas and goals that you've got? You got a Coach Shrew's meatloaf, or what else you got going on?
We can always do something with all the coaches. I know when Legends in the past, they always have done a signature, coach-themed meal and stuff. So we started with Coach Freeman, so maybe we can kind of go down the line and get some more signature food items.
Yeah, we need you to do a Neil Ivy and a Shrewsbury. We'll have you back on for tip-off, and you just bring more cookies.
I got you.
You're always welcome.
Can you do like a kickoff theme something?
We can get a signature
playoff
kickoff.
Game,
yes, if we get in the playoffs and we have a home game, let's do another signature cookie for the home game. So.
Awesome. Aaron Wood, baker of these beautiful, delicious cookies, and they are big and rich, and you get your money's worth. Thank you for joining us.
You.
And we've got more to come, including another Irish legend. You got it. 1988 national champion field goal kicker Reggie Ho. He joins us next here on ABC 57 Kickoff.
First time I saw Reggie Ho, it was more of like, are you kidding me? Is he a football player?
Ready to spill out onto the field, Fighting Irish of Notre Dame.
We played on national TV every week. People know Notre Dame. People are shooting for Notre Dame. The spotlight is on you.
Now here you are, and coming out for the field goal, this 5'5", 135-pound kicker.
Reggie Ho from Hawaii will attempt this field goal. I think he is 5'5".
Kind of became a folk hero.
I never expected Reggie Ho to become a folklore legend at Notre Dame.
And without him, and who knows what that season turns out to be.
I have nothing against Rudy. He's a fellow Notre Dame guy. But Reggie Ho deserves more than that. Reggie's a better story.
Never did I think he would end up being our kicker. Never in the wildest dreams.
First game was against Michigan in prime time. Notre Dame, Michigan. Can't get much bigger than that.
He had to get his jersey, I think, in the bookstore. I don't know if the team had a jersey that fit him.
When you see him going out there with the rest of the behemoths, you're just wondering, is he the student manager or what's his role there?
3 more for the Fighting Irish.
We could not make anything happen with our offense.
Plays perfect again.
We could never quite get in the end zone, and we called upon Reggie.
His third attempt is perfect.
Then you have to kick the game winner with 1 minute 13 seconds left.
A 26-yarder.
And he ended up kicking 4 for 4 field goals.
Reggie Ho was our savior that day.
4 field goals, tying a Notre Dame record.
If you said, Coach, to beat Michigan, you're going to have your place kicker kick 4 field goals. I said, well, we lose. But the guy was unbelievable. And he made every one of them right down the middle. Hey, God bless him. We won the game because of Reggie Ho.
Well, you know you're good when ESPN does a 30 for 30 on you, and joining us now is Dr. Reggie Ho, the kicker from the 1988 National Championship team. Welcome to ABC 57 Kickoff.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Well, you have such an incredible story, and you came to Notre Dame as a student and decided to try out to be a walk-on, but it took you a couple of tries before Lou Holtz gave you a chance. And how was that?
Yeah, it was. I came here just to study, and then after my freshman year, I did pretty well in terms of grades. I got all A's except for an A- in psychology, and felt that there's more life in college than just studying. So I decided to try to walk up for the Notre Dame football team.
But it took a couple of tries to get there. When did Lou finally give you that chance?
Yeah, I made the mistake of going up to the secretary and asking several times, and finally I had a chance to figure out where the tryouts are going to be, and eventually we went through the tryouts, and fortunately I was able to make it along with Ted Grotto and Jim Sacco.
Well, we're glad that you did. I know Lou was glad that you did too. We teased about having a 30 for 30 made about you. Something many people may not know is that actor and comedian Ken Jeong of the Hangover, the Math Singer community, he made his directorial debut making that 30 for 30 on you. What was that experience like working with him and just having a 30 for 30 about your life?
Yeah, it's quite an honor, to meet him. He's a physician himself, and he's a really great guy and a great person to work under and directed the film and everything. So it's really a wonderful experience.
Well, once you earned that spot on the team, you made the most of it. Most famously in the '88 season against number 7 Michigan in the opener, you made 4 field goals. The Irish won 19-17. What do you remember most about that game, and how did it set up the rest of that incredible season for you?
Yeah, the game, I think, look at it as more is a team effort. So we had Ricky Waters ran the punt return, and our offense, was able to get me close enough to kick, the field goals and made it really, easy for me. So it's really, a team effort for us, and just going on from there to win the national championship. And nice way to start.
He's downplaying it, but that is referred to as the Reggie Ho game, and that led into what became an undefeated national championship season. In that 1988 season, you went 32 of 36 on extra points, 9 of 12 on field goals, and according to Coach Holtz, you had a unique kicking style. How would you describe your style, and what was the longest kick of your career?
Yeah, so I guess I had a kind of unusual, unorthodox style because I kind of small, so I couldn't kick the ball that far. So I tried to pull it and do ways to use physics to try to make the ball go as far as I can. But that being said, I was really the short field goal kicker. So Billy Hackett was a long field goal kicker. So mine was within the 40 yards, and so my longest in the actual game was like 38 yards.
Okay, yeah. and you kept the ball low, right?
I tried to get higher up. At the time, we had tees, so we could use 2-inch tees. So I would kick the ball and first try to get it above the lineman.
Well, after your playing career, of course, you went on. We introduced you as Dr. Reggie Ho. You're now a cardiologist in New Jersey. And at what point in life did you know you wanted to take that path, and how rewarding has it been?
Yeah, so I think I started to think about medicine maybe my sophomore year when we started to have to declare our major. and then I went on to medicine and to cardiology, and I do cardiac electrophysiology, and it's been very, very rewarding. It's it's a service that I can provide, and some of the most satisfaction I have as a professional is to be able to take care of patients and sometimes save their lives, and just as importantly, give quality to them, when they're pretty sick. So it's quite an honor.
One time you were back for Holtz's Heroes, and Ned Bolkar, one of your teammates from that national championship team, shared a really neat story about a family member who was in the hospital that you were working at. Can you kind of remind us about that story?
Yeah, so Ned's father had heart failure, and at the time I was at Penn, and so I went over to every day that he was there, just to be able to help him in any way. I wasn't taking care of him directly, but just to when you're in the hospital, it's kind of tiring. I mean, it's kind of hard for them. So I want to be there to cheer him up and everything. And yeah.
But you originally didn't even know that was Ned's father. You just saw that last name Bolkar on the door, right, or the chart, and then started inquiring about that and decided to give him your time.
That's correct. And it's all Bolkar, and I figure I'm going to ask if he's Ned's relative, and eventually found out that he was his father, and Ned found out that we were there.
Well, and just a special day for you as well. Not just here to watch the football game, but also you're here with your family. Your son, he's actually applying to Notre Dame. How special is that? And I got to imagine you're giving him some encouragement, right? Come to Notre Dame.
Absolutely. It's be an honor for him if he can get into Notre Dame. It's a great time. So he's here to see the campus and enjoy the football team and everything. Yeah.
And he's going to walk on as a kicker?
Oh, we'll see. He has trouble wearing helmets, so I think I'm not too sure he wants to.
Well, we appreciate having you. Tell me, what was that? Didn't you have a little signature move that you would do after you'd make a field goal too?
Yeah, it's just a way to, I guess, when I was kicking the field goal, just a way to prepare for each kick and get my mind off of the intensity of the moment.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Ho. We appreciate you joining us, and hope to have you back sometime. And good luck to your son. I hope he makes it here and it gets into Notre Dame and follows in Dad's footsteps.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. Well, we still have much more to come here on ABC57 Kickoff. Stick around.
Well, it's a windy day outside Notre Dame Stadium here. We're outside the Era Parsegian Gate getting ready for game day here at 7:30 p.m. Let's take a quick look now at kickoff conditions at 7:30 in South Bend versus Tallahassee. Of course, Tallahassee, Florida, going to be warmer with temperatures right around the mid-70s. Here in Notre Dame, low 50s, cloudy skies. It's a fall day in November. Rain chances as well here. Keep in mind as you head outside the door and getting home from Notre Dame Stadium, likely going to see a few showers, but the best rain chances going to be after midnight, so you should avoid the wet weather if you're going to the Notre Dame game. I know I am, as many others are at ABC57. We'll have another look at that forecast for you a little bit later in the evening time. Until then, go Irish. I'm meteorologist Emmett Toomey for ABC57 Kickoff. Vahid and Allison, back to you.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Jeremiah Love. Riley Leonard. The Notre Dame defense.
As we wrap things up today, we just had a nice surprise. Another Notre Dame legend, Corey Mays, former Irish linebacker, just happened to be walking by. We're like, Corey, come join us really quick. So we're going to finish up the show, and you're going to join us for our final predictions here.
Great to be here.
Yeah,
Great to
thanks
be here
for being on.
Well, we love it. Thank you. All right, so taking a look at this, Florida State tonight, of course, under the lights, and we like to do some prop bets at the end of the show. Our expert better right here, he kind of leads the way for us. But Notre Dame ranked 13 in rushing offense, averaging more than 216 yards per game. Guys, who will be the leading rusher for the Irish on the ground today, and how many yards do they get? We're going to start with you, Corey.
You know what? I have a toss-up between Love, Leonard, and Price, right? This is, they might all rush for 200 yards each. You know, it depends on the game plan this week, but I think it's whoever gets the big run. And I love Love in this situation.
I don't think we all need to answer because I think we all have him.
No, I took Jadarian Price, although I am a huge fan of Jeremiah Love. His father's the Buzz. But listen, I took Jadarian Price. I think he's the guy that can break out and get outside the numbers for the team tonight. I think he'll go for about 102.
That's why I say I feel it's equal across the board as far as the Florida State defense not really presenting that challenge, you know.
Yeah.
They got run over last week against North Carolina. All right, Florida State's been sacked 30 times this season. This is going to be our last question. 7 alone last week against North Carolina. How many sacks does Notre Dame's defense get today, and who's going to get the first one, Corey?
I'd say 10 sacks. Riley Mills, right up the middle. You know, this Notre Dame defense coming out of the bye week has to establish dominance from the start. I think they will. I think they've learned that lesson. They're keeping that Northern Illinois loss in their head, and you just come back from that. And I think that's what's necessary and what's needed, setting the tone early and finishing them off. Don't take them for granted.
I got 8 sacks, and I think Junior Tuialamaka will get the first sack.
All right.
He set the tone last week. He got the last defensive touchdown, and he's going to get the first one today. He's going to do a pick 6. Jalen Sneed going to get the pick 6 and the sack.
I like that.
Let's do it. He's going to get a sack and a pick 6. Let's go.
Well, Corey Mays, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for watching ABC 57 Kickoff. Go Irish.
Go Irish.